Yeah. You rocking with your boy Czar, all rights reserved. CommenterNation, greatest nation since United Nations. You know how I rock. You know how we do it. Like, share, subscribe. Yesterday's video, today's video. Let's get into it. Go to Brandy J Shops on Instagram. Go over to brandyjofficial.com and get your sunglasses, get your gear, everything fresh, almost see-through. You can see into them. You know how I rock, how clean and fresh they come. Let's get into this. Now, I want to put this out. We had talked about suspects yesterday, but now it's time to really talk about suspects. After thinking and going through information, I visualize a suspect hierarchy in this. Let's break it down. Shout out, go follow and subscribe to Queen Prodigy on YouTube, Queen Prodigy on Twitter, Queen Prodigy on Instagram, Queen Prodigy 0369 on Instagram to be exact. Chris Chris _ AY3 on Instagram. Go support these socialites that I go live with. And let's get into this. Now let's be official with it. What is it we need to talk about? Think of the suspects and what was said. The first one picked up was Dedrick D. Williams. Now I want you to think about this. Dedrick D. Williams, we seen a video used in trial where he was walking into Riva Motorsports. Question. If Dedrick D. Williams was the first one gotten, Michael Boatwright was the next one that was attributed to the situation. Now I have a question about that. If they, prior to the understanding, had some type of video with Robert Allen in it, how come Robert Allen wasn't the second one released, and the photo of him that they did release initially was him walking outside the store? I find that very odd, because if I'm going to go for the first two people, and I'm presuming one of them's a dire suspect, and I actually had Riva's video showing Dedrick D. Williams as someone who was a suspect, how wouldn't Robert Allen be the next one that I'm picking up? I thought that was strange. That's just one part. Let's get to the next part. Michael Boatwright. Through information given to me by a dear socialite, Michael Boatwright, what they had in the statement as they went to search evidence was a large weapon. That's something we've spoken about before, about the weapons not matching up. We did that. Now, here's the second perception. One of the key things they marked down was a $400 receipt that was within it on July 1st. July 1st was after Tentacion was gone. Think about that. Remember how I told you it was like some people weren't really in on the plan, so they weren't prepared a certain way? My thoughts is allegedly Michael Boatwright was picked up trying to get some extra money in some way, some shape, some fashion. And in the midst of him doing that, having purchased a bunch of different clothes, could that have allegedly been for him to skip town and hop out because he was trying to prepare, but it was too late? Is that what that receipt was they found mid catching him doing something else they indicted him on? Now let's get a bit deeper with this. Let's think Robert Allen and Trayvon Newsom were the only two suspects out of the suspect team of four that ended up getting out of town and ending up somewhere else. One was found in Atlanta, one was found in New York. Would this have truly been possible if they weren't reacting so swiftly? So were they prepared in some way, shape, or fashion to get out of there before these other two men who were snatched up? So think of the hierarchy. Dedrick D. Williams allegedly said, "What are you doing?" in a video, allegedly, when everything went down to one of the other suspects. That's what was being claimed. That's what was being said on his behalf. Michael Boatwright went for the insanity plea, and I told you how that could be a good thing or a bad thing. Yes, that is something that we come to understand. That is the situation. Now wait, it gets a bit deeper here. Because Michael Boatwright lost that, but then he asked for statements. Dedrick D. Williams asked for experts and was given the grant. These were the two individuals that seemed to be lower in the hierarchy upon their arrest. And we also find the alleged interaction of funny investigators being that certain evidence and certain information wasn't released and things weren't done properly? Is this leading to us to believe that there was a purpose, that DNA was allegedly not collected up front for prosecution, thus why they're asking for it before the bill of information? That was noted. Very interesting. Now remember, a magazine that I do not have the name of at the moment, please forgive me for that, made a statement that Robert Allen's alleged words was, basically, it didn't go down how you think. That's not the way it went. While he was being arrested in Atlanta, Trayvon Newsom, the last one arrested, came in with his mouth sealed shut tight and lawyered up very shortly after, or if not, right before. So how would this occur? So to our understanding of looking at it this way, did Dedrick D. Williams and Michael Boatwright get pulled into something they did not get the complete information for? Let's get a bit deeper with that thought. Now remember, they are alleging Dedrick D. Williams was picked up from his house as he was with his family right before this shortly occurred. Michael Boatwright, already being there, could have been told something, and they only said the same thing in front of Dedrick D. Williams, which these two would have had the same level of information. Do we have evidence that someone like Robert Allen or Trayvon Newsom linked up with Michael Boatwright or Dedrick D. Williams first before Trayvon was added? Or was it Trayvon and Robert Allen then linked up with Michael Boatwright and Dedrick D. Williams? Depending on how that works, the hierarchy would complete a certain way. So that makes you ask, due to the behavior and the action, who had the most knowledge of the situation going on at hand? Because here's the thing. Before arrival at Dedrick D. Williams' house, they could have got together and said, look, Mike, do what you got to do. And because they're alleging he's a shooter. So do what you got to do. Here's what we're doing. And it could have been adverse to what Robert Allen and Trayvon Newsom talked about. But here's where it gets even deeper. Let's think of who they allege was on film due to the clothing. Michael Boatwright was someone they allege was on film. Dedrick D. Williams and Robert Allen are in a video walking into Riva Motorsports. That leaves one individual that's not on the video. So where do you think he's placed in the hierarchy? Think about that. And there is a hierarchy depending on the information that someone has to grasp the situation at hand. Who was the point of contact? It couldn't have been Dedrick D. Williams because he was the last person that was linked up with. Now, he still is bad choice for being involved. But what exactly was he told to have him go along? Same thing for Michael Boatwright. What knowledge was there and who linked up with Trayvon Newsom first? Was it Robert Allen or Michael Boatwright? This is very important because this is going to disclose who has more knowledge of what's going on in the situation than they're willing to do. Also, look at the behavior. A grant was given for experts to Dedrick D. Williams, which tells me he may not know exactly what's going on because he wants experts to look into something because he doesn't understand the way it unfolded. Michael Boatwright going for the insanity plea shows that he wasn't too confident in the fact that if he was allegedly doing that, then what's the mishap? Now, let me tell you something else alleged, and this is odd. They allege that Michael Boatwright was searching a topic dealing with the alleged interaction of accessory to murder. What was the situation that I mentioned this for? Look at the remorse factors. The grant given for Dedrick actually looking at what happened. Michael Boatwright actually coming into the situation and he's looking up what happened. So he's concerned. That shows concern. Now, we don't know what Robert Allen and Trayvon Newsom looked up. We just know that they were the last two that happened to make it out of town. Why was that? That's what I'm trying to present. So now we're looking at an in-depth suspect hierarchy, and where the golden standard for information actually may come from. It may not come from Diedrich. It may not come from Michael Boatwright. And what's crazy, these two lawyers are allegedly the only two that's looking for extended information and research to the case, as far as declaring they want to see statements and declaring that they want to see experts on the case. Interesting. What are your thoughts? Put them below. Shout out to everybody working hard, trying to get an understanding just like I. You know how I rock. Like, share, and subscribe. Shop at Brandy J Official. Go over and follow them on Instagram, Brandy J Shop. And you know how I rock. All rights reserved.